And welcome back to the best podcast you're going to listen to today, tomorrow, the next day, and for the future. We got an awesome show lined up for you today. I'm here. I'm James Koklak with my partner, Sean McCabe. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up? I have never been better a day in my life.
I wish I could say the same. It has been one heck of a day for me.
Yeah.
I have been just going crazy in my mind. But I'm here. I am in my comfort zone doing this podcast, having a good time. And, you know, besides the normal stuff we have today, the waiver wires, the DraftKings, our picks against the spread, the usual stuff, we have an interesting opening rant today. Before we get into that, remember to follow us on iTunes and on Facebook as well as YouTube, all up between the hash marks. We love when you guys follow us, like our pages, comment on our stuff, email us questions at bthashmarks@gmail.com. But now, I'd like to begin with my opening rant.
Your number one source for sports.
You know who I can't stand? Kevin Durant.
He looks like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had a kid.
Now, who can argue with that?
I hate Boston.
I'm the biggest Miami Heat hater you'll ever meet.
I just don't understand where you're getting your bogus information from.
What the hell are you even talking about?
Well, I'm sorry you're too freaking sensitive to handle the truth.
You think I'm crazy? I'm just getting warmed up.
You're now between the hash marks with James Koklak and Sean McCabe.
The Steelers had such a great game last night. Finally, we saw the offense that we were looking to see from this high-powered team. The Celtics, they came back down 17 against the Dubs for their 14th straight win against a team who won 73 games 2 years ago and won a championship again last year and has been to 3 straight finals. That was such an impressive win. Also, a game that people may not have been watching was the New Jersey Devils and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Played an amazing 0-0 game until 6 seconds left in overtime. The first game to go into overtime this season tied at 0-0. But we're here about to talk about Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell. This is what is wrong with the world today. That's an issue for me. My stance on this is very plain and simple. As for Roger Goodell, he has made more money than he can spend in a lifetime already. His requests for his latest contract demands have been outrageous. He can pay for health insurance for him, his family, and himself. There's no reason for the NFL to give him and his family lifetime health insurance. Also, the use of a private jet for a lifetime is also ridiculous. After you leave your job, you get nothing unless you're retiring, and then you get your pension. I can't think of any reason he needs to use a jet for the lifetime after he's no longer the commissioner. He's also asked for $49.5 million per year. First off, you're not even good at your job. Secondly, the average CEO in the United States makes $13 million a year. So Roger Goodell deserves almost 4 times that? I don't think so. Now for Jerry Jones, the compensation committee decided to re-up Roger Goodell before the season, but since Zeke is now suspended over the last month, Jerry doesn't want Roger as commish. Why didn't he bring it up before the season when the committee decided they were going to re-up Roger even with 18 months left on his current contract? Jerry Jones loves headlines, and this is one of them. It's a shame that so much good is happening in sports right now, and we're talking about this crap. Go scratch your elbow, Goodell, and Jerry, take a look in the mirror because you're ruining your own damn name. What do you think about all this crap between Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell? Because I cannot stand either one of them right now.
Well, first off, I just want to say the Celtics looked amazing last night.
They did.
Their defense, absolutely unbelievable, shutting down the Warriors like that. And the Steelers, you've been talking about it all year. You wanted to see this offense pop off, and it finally did.
I loved it.
And that defense looked really, really good last night.
Yes, they did.
But back with Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell. With Roger Goodell, he's turned the NFL into a joke. He's turned the NFL into a joke, especially when it comes down to disciplinary actions from Tom Brady to Ezekiel Elliott to the Saints bounty gate, just everything.
Deflategate. Ray Rice,
just anything at all when it comes to disciplinary action. He's been terrible. And it is laughable that he's been just this terrible at it, and it's like, and he just wants more of the power. Give me more of the power so I can keep screwing up and screwing up and screwing up. And it's like, dude, just relinquish the power a little bit, take your name off of it, and back up a little bit, and you wouldn't have this much scrutiny on you. And he's looked completely dumb in all of these incidents. Until today, really, when Jerry Jones decides to open his big mouth, and he basically says, I'm going to come at you with everything I have. You thought Robert Kraft with the Deflategate was tough. Well, Robert Kraft is a you-know-what, and I'm going to come after you with everything I got. To me, this makes Jerry Jones look so freaking childish. Because it's like Roger Goodell took away his favorite toy, and now he's all mad.
Throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah, he's throwing a temper. That's exactly what he's doing.
That's why I can't stand it, because there's so much good happening in sports right now. There was the 3 amazing games last night, and I'm sure there were more that I don't even know about, I didn't watch.
Yeah.
But here we are talking about this instead of these games. And that should be the focus, is sports, not Jerry Jones throwing a temper tantrum. And for this, I cannot stand him right now.
Yeah, no, it's weird because he is the most powerful owner, but he has no chance of beating Roger Goodell. It's like all the other owners, maybe not Robert Kraft, so 30 out of the 32 owners support Roger Goodell and everything that he's doing, and he's making them a lot of money. So to them, he's like, oh, this guy's doing really good, and they unanimously decided that, oh, this guy is going to lead us into the next contract negotiations that are coming up in a couple of years. So we want this guy that's done it before to do it again for us, so we can continue making a lot of money off of these players.
Now, do you think the demands that he's making are worthy of his job? Do you think
Roger
he deserves $49.5 million a year?
No, I don't.
What about a private jet after he's done being the commissioner?
No, absolutely not. All of that in the healthcare, dude. Like, pay for your own damn health. If you're a representative of the league, yeah, you can get your healthcare taken care of. But once you're done with this, no, not anymore.
That's what makes me so frustrated, is because there are people out there like you and I who are paying for our own health care,
exactly,
and we're not even making a penny to the dollar he's making.
And it's like a lot of us, we get our health care through our jobs, and when we quit the job, we don't
lose it.
We don't
lose
get our health care unless like you're a teacher and you work for the county for like 30 years, then you get some benefits from that. But other than that, you don't get health insurance after you quit your job.
He hasn't even done a good enough job to warrant it either. He's made more money. If you just do the average, he's made, I think, $44 million per year over the last 4 years or so. That's just about $200 million. That's more than enough for a lifetime. And then you want more money per year and a private. Go buy yourself a private jet.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me about this with Jerry Jones is that, like, you could have just had Ezekiel Elliott be suspended for the 6 games and done what Tom Brady did, where you sit out the games, you come back angry and better than ever. And those first 4 games for Tom Brady, those first 6 games for this season for the Cowboys, would have meant nothing. But now you're doing it in the heart of the season when the team really needs Ezekiel Elliott. And if that's what the Patriots did, could you imagine if the Patriots did that last year? They kept fighting it, and then Tom Brady was suspended for games 12 through 16. Like,
that would have been bad.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
That would have been bad. Now, though, the one thing that I do like about the suspension coming now is if the Cowboys are still in playoff contention, when he comes back, Zeke is going to be hungry.
Oh, absolutely.
Zeke is going to be on a mission. So all the Cowboys have to do is stay in contention, stay relevant for the next 5 weeks. If they can do that, I think they're in great shape, because Zeke will come back, like you said, hungrier than ever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then with just everything that Jerry Jones has been doing lately, just with the comments he said about Robert Kraft today, the what he has done, just making Goodell look bad. I mean, we don't need him to make Goodell look bad. We all know Goodell looks bad. But what he's doing with that, and then I just saw this on Bleacher Report about 30 minutes ago, a video service of Jerry Jones making racist remarks back in 2013, and that sounds
apologized for it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 3 incidents right now, and
you haven't even brought up the one where he told his whole team, we're going to kneel down. We're going to do this the right way.
Yeah, precisely.
And then he goes back and criticizes his players.
Yep.
It's just...
Yeah, no, so everything that he has done this season is really is conduct unbecoming of an NFL owner. And I'm going to pose a question to you right here. Is there a near future Jerry Jones is not the owner of the Dallas Cowboys? Can the NFL really kick out their most powerful owner?
I think they can. I think that 31 owners are stronger than one owner.
Yeah.
Now, he may be the strongest, but all 31 combined can overpower him.
Yeah.
And I saw two things. I saw one, that they could overrun Jerry Jones out of Dallas, or they can overrun Dallas out of Dallas. If that means the Cowboys out of Dallas and eliminate their franchise, which I could never see happening.
No, that'll never
America's
happen.
team in quotes.
That'll never happen.
It could happen with Jerry Jones leaving because of the things that he's saying and the way he's going about his business and the way he's going about running his team. Now, I wonder if Jerry Jones is getting older. Now, this is a question that's could be posed to anybody, I guess. Maybe is there some kind of health issue that's going on in his head? Is he coming down? He's getting older. These kinds of things happen to older people. Is there?
I don't think that is the case. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think this is the case with Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones is just a 75-year-old billionaire, and he's like, I'm 75 years old. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
I agree with you. I just think we have to ask the question,
Yeah.
because he is older, so that's something that could be playing into effect with him. Not so much a younger owner, but I think they need to.
Yeah, no, he's a great entertainer, and he has been good for the Cowboys. He's been good for the NFL. He's always making himself in the headlines. The Cowboys in the headlines, the NFL in the headlines. But he doesn't care about the NFL at all. I don't even think he really cares about the Cowboys. He only cares about the Cowboys because he owns the Cowboys.
And he cared about the Cowboys because of Tony Romo.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tony Romo is gone, and Jerry Jones is good at one thing, and that's being an entrepreneur. And Jerry Jones should stick to being an entrepreneur, because clearly, not for nothing, but the Cowboys won all those titles with Jerry Jones when he didn't build that team.
No.
He bought the team that was becoming good.
Yeah.
Since then, what have they done?
Well, and also it's like Jimmy Johnson, he goes and wins a couple national titles with the Hurricanes, goes to Dallas, wins a Super Bowl, and then Jerry Jones doesn't like him because Jerry Jones wants to take credit for, I brought the players in, when it wasn't. It was Jimmy Johnson that brought the players in. He coached them up and won the Super Bowl, and Jerry Jones was like, no, it was all me.
Now look.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't him at all.
Maybe it's better off for the Cowboys that they don't have. And I don't know much about his son, but maybe Stephen Jones would be a better fit to run the franchise at this
Possibly.
point. You know, Jerry is getting older. He's 70, 75 years old now.
Yeah.
Maybe a fresher mind, a younger mind, a more relative mind. And now, in modern age, is better suited to run the franchise. I think it's a valid question. I think the Cowboys need to look in the mirror as a front office and decide what's best for us. Because right now, Jerry Jones is bringing down that franchise and bringing down the NFL.
Yeah, no, I think this is the perfect time with all these things happening. And it seems like a lot of them happened today, that this is the perfect time for the NFL to really start separating themselves, really trying to start pushing Jerry Jones away. I don't think they would be successful in doing it, but I think this is the perfect time for them to do so.
I agree, and I hope that they do, on the sole purposes of, I'm sick of talking about Roger Goodell this and Roger Goodell that, because he's fighting with Jerry Jones. I want to talk about the games that are happening. I want to talk about the Celtics. Had an amazing, we already talked about that slightly. You know, we should have opened up with that and not this, because of the amount of pressure that was on the Celtics to come back last night.
Oh, absolutely.
They
were down by
17 in the fourth.
Yeah, no, and before that they were down by, I believe it was 15. They went on a 15-3 run, and they brought it back within like 5 or 6 or something like that.
And that's impressive, and that's the kind of stuff that I love to talk about, because that is true sports, and that's the true passion. And this is just nonsense that's hitting the news, and the media needs to cut it out and quit with it, so we can focus on the good in sports right now, because that's what makes all sport fans happy.
I completely agree. So coming up next, we're going to give you your sports, we're going to give you your fantasy updates, we're going to give you your DraftKings, and the player who you need to pick up. We both agree on this player. You need to pick him up right now. You're listening to BTH.
You're listening to Between the Hash Marks with James Koklak and Sean McCabe, brought to you by an unknown sponsor we don't have yet. Now back to the show.
And welcome back to Between the Hash Marks. We just gave you a little bit of Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell BS. Now we're talking some real sports with you. Who you need to pick up in your fantasy football league season. We got a double like on both of this right here. The player that you absolutely have to pick up right now is Jamal Williams, running back of the Green Bay Packers. He has been added in 64% of leagues this week, a total of 66, I believe, for the entirety
66.4.
Yeah, in the entirety of ESPN leagues. And you know why you need to pick up? He's a starting running back. Aaron Jones is out. Ty Montgomery's out, or at least he's questionable as of now. And Baltimore, the Green Bay is playing Baltimore. Baltimore is 23rd in the NFL against running backs this season.
Not only that, but Aaron Rodgers is not playing.
Yeah.
They are going to be running the ball, I would say, probably 40 times this game. Maybe more, because they don't trust Brett Hundley to throw the ball downfield. He's throwing the ball 5 to 7 yards downfield. I remember watching, it was Packers versus Lions, and they showed the demographic of where his throws were going, Brett Hundley, and he had 7 throws. Only, I think it was 5 completions, but all 7 throws were within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage or behind it. You're never going to win a football game that way, and they're going to run the ball. That's why Jamal Williams is the honest pick for this week.
Yeah.
You really can't go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And just another thing, the Baltimore Ravens have had 4 games this season where they have given up 150 yards to running backs or more. They gave up 151 to Jacksonville in Week 3, 171 to Pittsburgh Week 4, 199 to Chicago Week 6, and 160 to Minnesota Week 7. The last couple weeks, they faced teams that really aren't good at running the ball. Miami and Tennessee. Tennessee is a smash mouth kind of team, but they have many games where they're unsuccessful running the ball.
I don't know how they're 6-4. I really don't.
Yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers really did expose them a little bit last night, especially with.
I think we saw 2 teams that we really know what they are now at this point.
Yeah, and especially with Tennessee, like you know that they're smash mouth, and if they get down, they're going to throw the ball, and Mariota's going to make mistakes, especially against good defenses. Like Pittsburgh's defense is very good, but with Jamal Williams, you got to pick him up. 64% of leagues. If he's still available in your league, you need to pick him up. There's 30-something% of leagues out there where he's available.
Speaking of the Steelers last night, though, just a little quick story about my fantasy team. I was so mad when Le'Veon Bell scored that touchdown, and then they took it away, and Jesse James got it.
Yes.
And I went outside to have a smoke. I smoke cigarettes I don't care if you hate it or love it. And I went outside as soon as Le'Veon Bell got that touchdown, thinking, all right, nice touchdown. Nice. I come back inside, and he goes from 19 points to 13 points, and I'm like, what happened? What happened here? I don't know how they overturned it. Beyond me, but just a little side story. I thought it was...
One thing that really pissed me off, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and they had 4 interceptions. 2 of them were going to be pick sixes if Marcus Mariota was just a normal speed quarterback, but he ran down whoever it was that picked off the ball and ran him down and forced him out of bounds or got tackled, and it's like, oh,
that would make me so frustrated because that's 6 points that you're missing.
I know.
6 points goes a long way.
Steelers defense still had 16 points in the league, but they could have had 22 or 20. 30 almost.
I guess there is a bright side because I don't need to win this week. I'm 8-2 right now. I am sitting pretty in first place in the whole league, and I am gonna make the playoffs. If I lose this week, it does not matter. But it's just nice to see your team do well.
Hey, you want to see your team ball out? Put up the points. Put up the numbers.
And Schuster didn't have the best game last night either, but that's gonna come. You got Antonio Brown, who had probably the best game of his entire career.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not gonna happen.
That helmet catch was insane. But anyway, let's get into the DraftKings lineup. Carson Wentz, he's going against the terrible Dallas secondary. You can get him for $7,200 at Sunday night, bright lights. Last year, when they played this game, Carson Wentz is a rookie, and they are dominating this game the entire way through. And then, all of a sudden, one thing goes the other way, and Dallas comes back. Dak has a great performance. But Carson Wentz balled out that game. He's going to ball it again. And just a quick little tidbit for you.
Who won that game?
Dallas Cowboys did win that game.
We'll continue.
No, well, just a little tidbit here. The Dallas Cowboys are without Sean Lee, and they're a lot worse without him
They're
on the
very
field.
vulnerable without him on the field.
Absolutely. So that's why I got Carson Wentz 7,200, and he's like the number one quarterback this season. So who do you got for your quarterback?
I got Dak Prescott.
Okay.
All right, that's why I made that little comment. Yeah. So 6,900, and he's going up against the 29th rated defense against quarterbacks this year. So he's going up against a pretty terrible passing defense, and they don't have Zeke. I expect the ball to be spread around, whether it's Dez, it's Jason Witten. I expect the Cowboys to be in full force of throwing the ball. You got to take advantage. Philly's run defense is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I don't see them trying to run the ball 30 times this game. This is going to be Dak's game. If the Cowboys are to win, it's going to be on Dak's shoulders, and I'm going to take a risk with Dak.
Well, the thing that bothers me, or just kind of scares me, is that the fact that Tyron Smith might not be playing, and he's very questionable, and to me, it doesn't look like he's going to play. So unless Dak is getting the ball out quick, then they're going to get pressure because they have an amazing defensive front.
It's going to be a tough game, but in fantasy football,
points.
Well, not only that, but you got to take risks somewhere. So this is the risk I'm going to take. If the Cowboys are going to win, Dak's got to have a huge game, and I'm going to bank on him having this huge game.
It's funny you bring that up because you want to be right, but you don't want to be right with everybody else. You want to be right and contrary.
Yes.
So, very tough. Who are your running backs?
I got Melvin Gordon this week. He's going up against the 31st ranked Buffalo run defense, which is hard to believe that they're 31st. And speaking of Buffalo, what the heck happened with Tyrod Taylor getting bent? Oh, my head almost exploded because Tyrod Taylor, he's got, 45 touchdowns, 18 interceptions since he's come to Buffalo?
He's not terrible.
I don't know what they're doing, but Phillip Rivers may not play, and even if he does, I don't expect him to be throwing the ball a lot. If he's coming out of concussion protocol, Melvin Gordon is going to be fed the ball this week. He's going up against the second to worst run defense. Got to play Melvin Gordon. He's 7,600. That is relatively cheap for a star running back, considering what you're paying for a Le'Veon Bell or a Leonard Fournette, etc. So, and also I have James White. Here is my value pick, 4,700. They're playing Oakland. And the reason I like this is because he's a pass-catching back. They're playing in Mexico City, 7,200 feet above sea level. So the air is even thinner there than it is in Denver. In Denver, it's known for passing games and for long field goals. I expect James White to get back on his horse this week, and the Patriots always seem to go back and forth with the running backs. Last week it was Rex Burkhead. This week it's going to be James White again. So, all right, those are my two running backs. Who are yours?
I have Kareem Hunt and Chris Thompson. Kareem Hunt you can get for $8,000 going against the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants are 25th against running backs this season. But you know what? I don't care what that stat says because I believe they're 32nd because they have completely quit on their coach and all those players have just completely quit on this team. And Kareem Hunt has had a little bit of a lapse over the past couple weeks, only 10.1, 9.8, 15.7 before you start seeing his bigger numbers. So I think coming off the bye, he was tired. I mean, this is his rookie year. Rookie players get tired after a while.
They do.
He needed a break. He's got his break. They're coming off the bye. And I just love that combination. Coming off the bye and going against a team that's really given up. Give me Kareem Hunt for $8,000. I also have Chris Thompson, 5.4. Look, I know the Saints are pretty good against the running backs, but Chris Thompson's not your average running back. He's a PPR running back. And the Washington offensive line, they're healthy now. They're healthy. I think they have all 5 of their starters back, at least 4 of their 5 of their starters back this week. Going against the Saints, yes, it's in the dome, but there's not going to be any weather, and I think they're going to be losing this game, so it's going to be a lot of Chris Thompson, little dinks and dunks left and right.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be Saints-Redskins. The Redskins are a sneaky team.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Like their record's not that great, but I think they're a lot better than their record.
Oh, absolutely. They play in a tough division. Regardless of what the Giants are, they still have a decent team.
Yeah.
And until the last couple of weeks, where you can really see that they quit on their team, but that division is loaded with talent. So the record is wiped away. You just got to look at the depth chart, how they play. They play good football.
Yeah. I'm just going to go right into my wide receivers. I have Brandon Cooks, Nelson Aguilar, and Michael Crabtree. Brandon Cooks you can get for $6,600. And look, the Patriots are playing against the Raiders. I don't care what the stats say on DraftKings. They have Oakland as the 13th best defense against receivers. I'm telling you, that is a load of BS. The Raiders they've played teams that don't really throw the ball that much. They are probably one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL. Brady's going to torch them left and right. you need to pick up Brandon Cooks because he's going to be the recipient of many of these targets. Get Brandon Cooks 6,600. Nelson Aguilar is my second guy. You can get him 5,200. You heard me say Carson Wentz. You know I'm going to be taking a Philly receiver. I always stack my wide receivers with my quarterback. Nelson Aguilar 5,200. Dallas secondary is completely obliterated. And like I said, no Sean Lee. This team is a lot worse. It's a lot thinner. Michael Crabtree, 5,900. New England Patriots defense, they've been better over the last couple of weeks, but they're still ranked 31st against wide receivers. Teams are down against them a lot of the time, and they're throwing the ball left and right. So even if the Oakland Raiders are down by a lot, you can still expect Derek Carr to be throwing it to Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. James, who are your receivers?
Oddly enough, 2 of my 3 wide receivers are Nelson Aguilar and Michael Crabtree. This is so weird. We agree on the rant. We agree in you'll see about our picks, but we agree on our waiver wire, and now we agree on 2 out of 3 wide receivers.
This is a little ridiculous.
We can't
do this ever
again.
again.
The agreeing podcast, apparently. But for the same reasons, Nelson Aguilar, he's a sneaky pick. He's not the number 1 wide receiver. He's not going to get number 1 coverage. That's going to be Alshon Jeffrey. I had a brain fart there.
Or is it even Zach Ertz?
Zach Ertz, too. And they just got Jay Ajayi. And they also have LeGarrette Blount, 2 power running backs. So Nelson Aguilar is a sneaky play here. I like the speed. I like how he doesn't get that attention. And Carson Wentz is always looking his way now. He trusts Aguilar.
Absolutely.
And something I wanted to add for Crabtree before I go into my 3rd wide receiver, who I'm sure you can take a guess that's from the Cowboys. Crabtree is not going to get the coverage from Malcolm Butler. That's going to be Amari Cooper. And I love that. Amari Cooper's probably not going to have a big game. But I fully expect if there's going to be one Oakland wide receiver to have a big game against this 31st ranked pass defense, it's going to be Michael Crabtree for that reason. He may see over-the-top coverage, but he's not going to see Malcolm Butler one-on-one. And I think that that's going to benefit Michael Crabtree, even though I still think that the Raiders are going to come out losing this game. My 3rd wide receiver is Dez Bryant. I'm not a huge fan of Dez Bryant, but he's got to have a big game sooner or later. He's got to break out of this funk. It's going back to last year. What happened to this elite wide receiver, Dez Bryant? I think now that Zeke is suspended, maybe they'll start to get that repertoire back with Dak now. It's got to happen sometime. I'm hoping it happens this week. He's only 6,200 though. And Philly's, like I said, their pass defense is not great. 24th against wide receivers. And as I said earlier, 29th against the quarterback. I'm hoping that pair can really connect this week and get a couple touchdowns together. And I'm going to go right into my flex here. And we'll do the tight end right after that. My flex is Paul Richardson, a waiver wire of yours.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago. I'm going with Paul Richardson because Atlanta had... Everybody's now thinking of Atlanta as, the superior defense. They had 6 sacks, etc., or 8 sacks with 6 against from one guy. That's not the truth. Atlanta is a good defense, yes. But if you have a scrambling quarterback like Russell Wilson, he's always going to make plays. Paul Richardson seems to be that big play threat. Now, Doug Baldwin is the number 1. He's going to see the most targets. But Paul Richardson, man, he just seems to, when there's a long ball thrown to him, he just seems to come down with it every time.
Every time.
I don't know what it is. He's got great hands, and I'm hoping I see a big game out of Paul Richardson this week.
Well, another thing just to add on to that is that Richard Sherman is out this week, so you could expect more points to be scored by Atlanta than normal against the Seattle defense. So if the game is close or Atlanta's scoring a lot more, then Seattle's going to be throwing the ball, and they're going to be throwing to Paul Richardson.
Oh yeah, and their run game is almost
atrocious.
Yeah, I was going to say invisible.
They have no run.
Yeah, I was going to say invisible.
Yeah.
It's no longer there. So I love the Paul Richardson this week. Who's your flex?
My flex, I have Jeremy Maclin, the old dude out of Baltimore. Green Bay, they're terrible against the pass. This team has so many holes when Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback, and they really come to light when Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback. They're 28th against wide receivers, and you know what? Joe Flacco has been absolutely terrible this year, but he has been hitting Jeremy Maclin all season long. Last week, he had 9 targets for 8 catches for 9 targets. Week before that, he scored. He has 3 touchdowns this year, and that's not what you would expect from an old dude like Jeremy Maclin. His value is great. You can get him for $4,500.
That's a great value pick because he's kind of been non-existent since he left the Eagles.
Yeah.
He was not the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, he wasn't doing much.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like it was going to ruin his career, and now he's kind of exercised his career again and revived it here in Baltimore. So,
going into my tight end, I have Hunter Henry. You can get him for $3,500. That's the main reason why I love him here. Buffalo is the 21st ranked defense against tight ends, and it just seems like Hunter Henry is he's had a couple games where he hasn't been doing much, but I just feel like this is the week that Phillip Rivers has a couple play action plays to Melvin Gordon, your boy, and throws it into Hunter Henry for the touchdown in the back of the end zone. So give me Hunter Henry, $3,500.
I went big on my tight end here.
Okay.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I was thinking about taking him, but I just couldn't find it in my budget to work him out.
He's going up. KC is not great on defense this year. Their defense has looked vulnerable. And 16th against tight ends, Evan Ingram is clearly the number 1 target for Eli right now. Even with what they have as a team right now, going back since week 6, 19.2, 18.0. Week 8 they had a bye. Week 9 against the Rams, even though they got crushed 51-17, he had 17 points. And last week against the Niners, he had 15.1 points. He's got 40 receptions with 5 touchdowns on the year. He's averaging 12.7 fantasy points a game, and that's only because he wasn't seeing as many targets in the beginning of the season because you had the likes of Odell and Brandon Marshall. So I love this pick, Evan Ingram. He's not the most expensive. He is $6,000, but I love this pick. I think he's going to go off this week.
All right, who's your defense?
All right, everybody, just start laughing now. The Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. I can't stand their fight song. I think it is the corniest thing in the world. We got Fins to the left. We got Fins to the right. But I'm taking their defense this week against Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston is not playing again. Ryan Fitzpatrick is too inconsistent. We saw it. I'm a Jets fan. I know it. I've seen it firsthand. I do not trust Ryan Fitzpatrick. The only reason he had somewhat of a decent game last week, wanted to prove it to the Jets. I don't see him going up against a solid...
He didn't really have that good of a game.
No, and he didn't.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins have a better defense than the Jets do. And if they just put a little bit of effort in, last week we talked about there's no effort on that team right now.
Yeah.
If they just put in a little bit of effort, they should clear this game. They should win, and they should shut down the Bucs without a problem. They're only 2,800. I'm going with the Dolphins defense. I'm taking a risk.
All right, yeah, I got the Baltimore Ravens, 3,400 going against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. And look, the Baltimore Ravens are very boom or bust, but if you take a deeper look into the numbers, when they're playing teams that are below 500, now I know the Packers are above 500, but we don't view them as an above 500 team without Aaron Rodgers. With Aaron Rodgers, they're probably top 5 team in the league, top 3 team in the league.
I had them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, without Aaron Rodgers, they're bottom 5 team in the league. So I'm viewing them as a bottom 5 team in the league. And when the Baltimore Ravens are playing teams that are under 500, they have scored 25 points in Week 1 against Cincinnati, 17 points in Week 2 against Cleveland. They have 12 points against Oakland in Week 5, that was. Week 6 against Chicago, 20 points, and Week 8 against Miami, 29 points. So they are very boom or bust. When they play the good teams like Tennessee, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, they're terrible, absolutely terrible. When they play the worst teams in the NFL, they're very good. So expect them to have a big day. Brett Hundley, can't trust them yet, and especially if they go down, Packers are going to stop. They're going to abandon the run, start throwing the ball, and that's where the big mistakes are going to come, and that's where you're going to see Baltimore really scoring a lot. Coming up next, we have our picks against the spread. You're listening to BTH.
You're listening to Between the Hash Marks with James Koklak and Sean McCabe, brought to you by an unknown sponsor we don't have yet. Now back to the show.
And we're back here on BTH. And we have a tribute to a special show at the end of our show here today. But first, I want to go into our picks against the spread. On the season now, since week 2, Sean, you are 26-18. That is 59% on the year so far. That is phenomenal numbers. 5 points ahead of the professional average. On the other hand, I am 28-15-1 on the year at 64%, 10 points above the average since week 2.
Professional average.
Professional average, I should say. So we are both really strong in this category. We both know what we're talking about.
And you got 2.5 games up on me on the bet we have.
Yes, I do. And you know what? If you want to win money, put down your phone, put down everything, log on to a Las Vegas website, and bet on these games we're about to tell you, because you will win money this weekend.
We have 3 games that we both agree on.
AKA the agreeing podcast here. But 2 games that we don't agree on, I'm just going to shoot mine both out there real quick. Miami, a -1 favorite over Tampa Bay. I'm taking Miami because of the fact that Jameis Winston's not playing. This Tampa Bay team has not looked great. They looked decent against the Jets, but the Jets have been fluctuating between absolutely terrible and a decent team, so not a good team by any stretch, so you can't really trust Tampa Bay. Miami should take this one easily. I mean, we never know, but the odds are with Miami here. And my second one is Detroit at the Bears, a -3 favorite. I'd be an idiot if I didn't take Detroit here. It's just, they should. Again, nothing is set in stone, but if you're thinking reality, Detroit should crush the Bears. The talent differential on the teams are second to none.
All right, my 2 games are, I have the Chiefs at -10 going against the Giants. It's a big, big number. I am very scared of big, big numbers, but you know what? The Giants have completely quit on their team. We talked about it last segment. The Giants have completely quit. I know they're at home now, but the Chiefs are coming off of a bye, and here is the stat you always got to look out for. This is such a widely known stat. There's if you just look this up online, you can see hundreds of articles. It's Andy Reid coming off of a bye. Andy Reid coming off of a bye is 16-2 straight up in the regular season, 3-1 in the playoffs in the regular season, 14-4 in the regular season against the spread coming off of a bye. That's 2-2 in the playoffs. That is a total of 16-6 against the spread coming off of a bye. It's a big number. I know it's 10 points, but give me the Chiefs. Give me Andy Reid. I fully believe in that.
What other podcasts are you getting stats like this from?
Not many. I know that. Now, my second game is I have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry about that. They're -4. Now, if this game were going to be in Philadelphia, they'd basically be saying Eagles are a 10-point favorite. I don't necessarily agree with that, but here's why I like the Eagles over the Cowboys, even though it's on the road. Cowboys, I don't think they have a true home field advantage that many teams love going to Dallas, or many fans love going to Dallas of other teams and cheering on their teams. So that home field advantage is definitely...
It fluctuates.
Absolutely. And the Eagles, they're coming off of a bye. They have one of the best teams in the NFL. They are the best team in the NFL
right now. Record-wise, as we speak.
Yeah. And the Cowboys, they have no Ezekiel Elliott. They have no Sean Lee. And without Sean Lee, I saw the stat 2 days ago that the Cowboys, when he is on the field, they average giving up 3.5, 3.6 yards per play. Without him on the field, it's in the 5s. So they are basically the 10th best defense in the NFL when he's on the field. They're 30th when he's not on the field.
Anytime you're averaging 5 yards play against you, that's a losing formula, because every 2 plays you're getting a first down.
Absolutely.
There's no stopping.
Absolutely. And not to mention, Dallas Cowboys might be without Tyron Smith. You saw what happened last week when the Cowboys were without him. It was an absolutely torch left and right. Dak Prescott could not save his skin at all. He couldn't hand it off to Zeke because he's not there.
And we haven't even talked about the fact that Jerry Jones and all this stuff is going on.
Yeah, that's
a distraction.
Huge distractions all over the place for the Cowboys. The Eagles are coming off the bye. They're fully focused. They want to just keep this momentum train going. Carson Wentz, he's amazing. Give me the Eagles -4.
I like the pick, but I have so much invested in the Cowboys players doing well this week.
I
could not take that game.
I hear you.
Otherwise, we would have had 4 of the same.
Yeah, I hear you. So we're going to get into our games where we agree. The first game, we're going to touch on Cincinnati at Denver. Denver is a 2.5-point favorite. We are both taking Cincinnati. We don't even understand how this is a thing. And some places I saw Denver was a 3-point favorite. If you can get 3 points, get 3 points, man. It's so worth it. But Dude, like, it's just funny because I'm just looking at this and like, Cincinnati is the better team in all facets, on offense, on defense, on special teams. I really just don't understand how Denver's gonna be is the favorite in this. Now look, I'm bashing Denver, and Denver's gonna come out strong because of this. But it's just I just don't see it.
Me neither. I've bet on Denver 2 weeks in a row, thinking that Denver's defense would hold them in games, and they have completely crapped on me. So Denver, it's time for me to crap on you. And I just, this team has taken a turn for the worse, and they look right now, and I know this is not true, but as we speak, they look like a bottom 5 team in the NFL.
Absolutely. And Cincinnati, yes, they've been losing games, but they've been covering the spread in these games that they're losing.
And they're close. Yeah, they're close games. They're playing hard.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of talent on that team. Yeah. We're not mentioning that they play in the toughest division in the AFC right now. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens in their division. That's 4 games out of your season that are extremely tough, and you're not even talking about out of the division yet. So, Cincy all the way here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to add one more thing. I'm just looking at this here. The yards per play for defense, Cincinnati is second in the NFL with yards per play. So, for those of you who are like, oh, Denver's defense is so good. Well, Cincinnati's defense is statistically better this season. So,
and Denver's defense hasn't looked great over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely, a lot of their. I mean, Denver's ranked 6th right now in yards per play. But if you take out the first 4 weeks of the season, they're probably somewhere in the 20s.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt.
So we're going into the next game here, the next game that we agree on, and this is one of my favorite games. I really feel strongly about this game. I know you do too. Baltimore at Green Bay, and Baltimore is a 2-point favorite on the road.
How are they not a 14-point favorite? I don't get it. The Packers, the Packers don't go out and sign free agents. They try to keep everything in-house. Mm-hmm. They do everything a weird way and not like every other NFL team. And every time Aaron Rodgers goes down, they're in the same position.
Exactly.
When are they going to learn? They are nothing without Aaron Rodgers until number 12 says Rodgers on the back is on the field. I will not put money on the Packers. Give Aaron Rodgers the MVP trophy right now, please, because he has earned it sitting off the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I saw a stat. Road favorites coming off of a bye. Baltimore's coming off of a bye. They're the road favorite. They are 61-23 against the spread. What year was it? I think it was 2008 since the stat was. It was 2008 or 2007 since the stat was. Not to mention, Harbaugh. He's a good coach. I think he's going to outcoach Mike McCarthy. I don't think Mike McCarthy's that great of a coach.
I don't either.
I think he's got Aaron Rodgers saves his ass a lot of the time.
Without question.
And we're looking at Green Bay here, yards per play. They're 21st in offensive yards per play, but that is over the course of the entire season. So the first 5 or 6 weeks is Aaron Rodgers' numbers, and the rest are Brett Hundley's numbers. So they're 21st. That's pretty terrible. And their defense is 24th in the NFL at yards per play.
Now, I don't want to backtrack what I said earlier in the season that Baltimore is a pretender. I still think they're a pretender.
No, absolutely.
But I think the one thing that hinders them is not their coach, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
What hinders them, and not that Joe Flacco was bad, but he's not a $20 million
He's been bad this year.
He has. But I think that if they had more help around him in general, offensive line, more receivers, more consistent running backs, they would have a better team overall right now. And I think that paying him the $20 million a year because he won the Super Bowl has really hit them hard over the last couple of years because they're losing players. They can't afford to pay players because Flacco should be making $10 million a year, not $20. And
they really made that mistake that it's like, you're paying the player for what he did in the past. Not what he's going to do for you in the future.
Yeah, and it's really hindering them now. And that's the only reason why I still consider them a pretender is because Joe Flacco makes too much money and they can't afford to pay position players, skilled players.
That defense is legit, though.
Oh, absolutely. Mike Wallace is more of a number 2 or 3 wide receiver, not a number 1.
Exactly.
And Jeremy Maclin, he's more of a 2 or 3, not a number 1.
I mean, when they're both old, absolutely.
They don't have a number 1 running back or a number 1 wide receiver or a number 1 tight end, to be honest. And that's their problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
But besides that, they're still going to blow the Packers out of the water. So, Ravens, 2-point favorite. You got to take the Ravens here.
Absolutely. Final game. We have the Patriots at the Raiders in Mexico City. Patriots are a 7-point favorite I'm loving the Patriots all day on this, man. I absolutely love the Patriots. Here's how I look at it. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. You have two really good offenses against two very bad defenses. But the thing is, the Patriots' defense is very opportunistic. They're terrible between the 20s, but they'll shut you down inside the red zone. You may get a couple touchdowns, but they're going to force you to kick field goals, especially over the past 5 or 6 weeks. They've really shown that. I mean, the first 4 weeks of the season,
Bill
terrible.
Belichick's a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. He knows how to teach players how to play football.
Yeah, it's unfair. I'm literally sick of it. But you gotta appreciate greatness. The way they go about playing their games, they're never out of a game. And I think this is going to be a high-scoring game as well. Oakland can put up points. They do have a skilled offense. I'm thinking in the 38-24 range, maybe a 35-28 game, somewhere in that range.
So, and when games are higher scoring, the larger number spreads are okay. It's when you think the games are going to be lower scoring, if you see like a game that you think is going to have like 42 points scored in it, total by both teams, and you have like an 8-point spread, you want to stay away from that because there's only so many points that are really going to be in this game, and that over under is usually pretty accurate on what it's going to be.
Even if Oakland doesn't, say they only put up 14 points, then they're going to get blown out.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the Patriots are going to put up 30 plus points this game without question.
And New England kind of has this ability about them that when they can jump out early to 14-0, and then you completely abandon your game plan of, we're going to run the ball, we're going to take time off the clock so Tom Brady stays off the field, because you have to adjust mid-game. You're down 14-0. You got to start throwing the ball, and that's when you make a mistake. You throw an interception, and boom, now it's 21-0.
But nobody changes their game plan and revisits how they're going to go about the rest of the game after halftime than Bill Belichick. It's like they have two totally different game plans for each game. They've got a first half and a second half.
Absolutely.
They never have the same game plan.
I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it's frustrating unless you're a New England fan.
Yeah.
But this game should not be close. New England should catch another W.
And one more final point I want to say, I think this is very interesting. The Patriots, after they whooped up on Denver last week, they stayed in Colorado.
Yes, they did.
They did not travel back to New England. They stayed in Colorado. So this entire week has been about preparing to go to Mexico City, preparing to play football. You don't have distractions of family or whatever. It's just football.
Now, I want to say why they did that. I just want to give a little insight that they did that because Denver is 5,200 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
Going to Denver is already tough enough unless you live there. I've never personally been there, but I've been told that it is hard to breathe right when you get there. Little fun fact about Denver, and this is how you know it's really hard to breathe, is the University of Denver ice hockey team. Their visitors bench actually is lifted higher off the ground, so their feet, the visitors' away team's feet dangle. And it actually takes away momentum and energy from them because of how thin the air is, and it's done on purpose. I thought that was a little interesting.
No, that is interesting.
But the Patriots stay there because now they're going to 7,200 in Mexico City. It's going to be even 2,000 feet higher. It's going to be even harder to breathe. And now the Patriots are going to have that advantage over the Raiders because they've been in Denver over the last week.
I just want to tell the listeners, where are you going to find just facts like this that you just gave us, that the University of Denver away visiting bench, their feet dangle off the ground so the players get tired? Like, where else can you find this stuff besides between the hash marks?
Exactly. But you know what? Speaking of great shows between the hash marks, I want to give a tribute here today to a long-lasting show. 18 years it was running in the morning drive, 6A to 10A. Mike and Mike has finally come to a close. It's bittersweet, is it not?
Yeah, no, I do think it is sad. I haven't really been paying attention to them over the past, I want to say 4 or 5 years. I was aware that they were ending today, as you mentioned, but I did listen to them almost every day for about 2.5 years in high school. When you're in Florida, high school started at 7:30. Classes start at 7:30. So you wake up and you start getting ready. I throw on my TV, throw on Mike and Mike, and just listen to them while I took my shower, got dressed or whatever, did whatever I had to do. And I listened to them for basically 2.5, 3 years in a row. Just listen to them every single day.
Now, I listen to them on my work. I used to, I should say, not anymore. Can't, because they're not going to be on the air. And I will listen to the new show, Golick and Wingo, because I'm a huge fan of Trey. And I also like Mike Golick, too, so that should be a great show. But it's not going to be the same. And I listen to them every day on my way to work. And I also listen to them while I'm at work. I'm allowed to have my headphones in as I work in a radio station. So we're allowed to listen to music and listen to podcasts and listen to radio shows. And it's bittersweet because these two guys, they showed you what running a radio show is like and how you don't always have to be so serious. You can goof off a little bit. You can have funny segments. You can go off track a little bit if need be. And they showed you what it was like to really have a successful show. And a little fact that not many people do know about is that Mike and Mike actually did not like each other for about 6 months due to the fact that Greenberg did not disclose to Golick that he was going to be leaving. And this is what I've read and I've been told. Yeah. And in between commercial breaks, they would not talk to each other. They actually despised each other. They did not talk off air whatsoever. And when they went on air, it's like they're best friends. Yeah. As soon as that red light went off, they hated each other again. I didn't see that tension anymore as the show came to a close today. But these two guys inspired me to want to work in radio. Inspired me to want to do this podcast. Why? Because I want this show, Between the Hash Marks, to be that next 6A to 10A morning drive show that everybody's listening to nationwide. They inspired me to be where I am today, and I have nothing but thanks to both Mike and Mike. So thank you for providing me with the courage to go after what I want to do for a living, because you guys make it look, one, easy, but two, fun. Like it's not work. You enjoy yourself.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. As I said, I listened to them almost every day for almost 3 years. And they were one of the main forces that got me into radio, got me into TV broadcasting, got me into even more into sports than I already was. The way they did things, it was well done. They were goofy at times, they were serious at times. I think they hit the show really well. It was so successful for such a long period of time. I believe they're actually going into the Radio Hall of Fame, the Sports Radio Hall of Fame.
They should.
Yeah.
If they're not, they should.
So, yeah, no, definitely thank you, Mike and Mike, for all the inspiration that you've given both myself and James over the past 18 years.
And just a little something, when I was at work this morning, I was listening to Mike and Mike, and they actually switched it over to ESPN to show the ending of the show off of ESPN2, but to show the whole nation, because not everybody has ESPN2, but everybody has ESPN, to show the whole nation the close of the show, the final close. And they brought their families on, and they kind of dimmed the lights, and everything went black after, except for the Mike and Mike sign, So, but I was being taught something, as I'm somewhat new to my job, as you know, and as the listeners now know. I mentioned I got a new job about a month ago. I'm still learning it, and I was being taught something in the process of this being, and the woman could see, she goes, you look like you're about to be really emotional. I can see that you're upset the show's coming to an end, because it's a part of my morning routine. Yeah. It's a part, and it hasn't always been. I've always worked overnights when we worked in TV together at Emporia. I used to come home, we'd get off at 4 a.m., get home by 5 a.m. I would be up till 7 or 8 because I was wide awake until then, because you can't just go to sleep right when you get home from work. It's impossible. You're so wired. And I'd be watching Mike and Mike before I'd go to sleep every morning. And now that I work in the morning, I listen to it. It's sad, but I guess all good things do come to an end. And I wish them both nothing but the best. I know both will be successful in their next journeys, as Golick's staying on the same show, just renaming it. And Greeny's going to TV. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out, but I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, so that's going to end it for today's show. Be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, listen to us on iTunes. You can also email the show, bthashmarks@gmail.com. We will have another show for you this upcoming Tuesday. You're listening to Between the Hash Marks.